Hi all, today I am going to talk about the effect of internet on adolescent people. But before that, let me ask you a question. How many of you check your mobile phones early in the morning when you wake up? In the same way, how many of us check the mobile phones just before we go to bed? The answer may be almost all of us. It shows how much the internet or social media has influenced the life of all of us. We don't realize what big chunk of time or daytime or the whole day we are spending on our mobile phones. Now let's move on to the case of adolescents. As WHO defines, adolescents are those people within the age limit of 10 to 19. So, if you are a person who are dealing with adolescents, you will realize how easily these people are getting involved in certain things while they are getting agitated, frustrated. All these things happens quickly for them. You may be a parent or a teacher and you will realize how these people are spending their time on phones without realizing how they are wasting their precious time. They may be using it for different purposes. It may be for playing some games, or maybe watching some series, and it may be mostly for using social medias. They spend their time moving on from one social site to another. It may be from Facebook to Instagram, or watching the videos which come under YouTube, and they don't realize what content is useful for them and how much time they should spend on these YouTubes and videos and things like that, which comes across their site without realizing whether it is worth watching. Studies shows that 60% of our youth is spending more than 2 hours a day on social media and internet. And when we go to adolescents, it says that 77% of our adolescents are severely addicted to internet and about 53% moderately affected. It shows the severity of the problem we are discussing. Adolescents stay longer period in online, and they also try wider activities. They try new technologies. It's a place for them to hang out. Spending too much time in internet keep them away from reality. We know that in olden days, students or children were spending too much time with their family members, with their relatives, with the neighbors, and with playing outside with their friends. They have a lot of time to spend for helping their parents in their domestic chores, and they were having some games and plays in the grounds nearby the houses, and they were always engaged in interesting activities. It also included physical activities. Actually, these healthy activities and gave them recreations, and it kept them healthy and emotionally balanced. Getting involved with people around them made them socially interactive and emotionally balanced. And they were able to solve their problems themselves, and they were ready to connect with people. At present, we see that if at all there is a problem, our children are not ready to connect or reveal it to their parents or other people around them. They try to find a solution from the social media. And I remember one of my friends recently telling me that one of his relatives' son, who was 10 years, committed suicide simply because his father scolded him for some minor reasons. All this shows how emotionally imbalanced our adolescents are. They are not able to manage their emotions. and they don't have the problem solving skills. They always find a solution in the social media itself when they are faced with some problems. Does the social media help the adolescent anyway in getting rid of his mental problems? Because when there is an emotional distress, what happens is that he will be turning to social media and all these things for getting a release. And again he is getting more and more involved in it, what makes him more and more addicted to it, which will worsen his condition. What we see in social media is actually not real to some extent, because the things posted in social media, the stories we see there, the pictures we see there, all these are chosen as the best things which happens to the life of a person, because only the best photos, the best stories, the best experiences, the achievements he has won, all these are chosen, and the images which with the best looks are posted in the social media and nothing else. We know that a lot of problems, hardships, difficulties, all this happens in the life of everyone, but these are not visible in social media. But when our adolescent watches such things, he feel insecure. He feel, why I am is in such trouble. Why such things don't happen to me? Why I don't have such pleasant experiences? He always try to compare his life with what he see in front of him, which will finally lead him to anxiety and depression. So it's a vicious circle. We can say that when a person try to improve his position, he depends on his social media and internet, his condition is getting further more worsened, and this circle continues. We have heard about the people who were making great achievements even in worse situations. For example, we have with us Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Alva Edison, and Stephen Hawking. And such people were focused in their aim, and they were giving all their attention and effort to achieve their goals. But the present generation, I think, is lacking this goal orientation because they are always getting distracted. What happens is that they can't concentrate in their studies and they can't involve in their academic activities. They can't give too much time or as much time required for those studies and doing creative works. Even reading is also lacking in the present situation. In many of our earlier days, we were reading a lot of books, spending too much time having discussion with our teachers and friends around us, and we were always engaged in playing games and sports. And such creative works are not seen with the present adolescent people, because they are always giving attention to their mobile phones. They are living in a fake world to some extent, because the reality around them is not attracting them. Spending too much time on internet, it often involves some risk. It makes the adolescent often subjected to harassment and bullying, and it leads to some fake relationships, because many of the profiles we see in social media are fake, and it may lead them to victimization. And it also involves certain financial risk as well. The adolescent may share some of the personal details, some of the bank details and account details, which may lead to great financial loss. And another risk is in case of pornography. The students who are curious to know about sex, they search and which will lead them to reaching out the unnecessary or the fake content. And finally, what happens is that the adolescent who is involved in it always try to procrastinate his studies and academic works. As it is a situation, what parents can do to help these adolescents? We can monitor what our children are doing in the internet and social media. At present, there are certain apps which helps us to monitor and control the use of certain sites. And we can also sensitize our children about the potential dangers of sharing some personal informations, phone numbers, addresses, and passwords. Through all these things, we can try to help our adolescents. Now, let's have a look at how we can manage our own use of internet. We can monitor our screen time, how much time we are spending on our mobile phones. At present, there are certain apps which helps us to do this. And we can also limit our usage of mobile phones to certain occasions. We can avoid it while traveling in public transport and while having our food and while interacting with our friends. And another way is we can avoid certain days from using internet. Maybe one day in a week we can avoid the use of mobile phones. Only by managing our on time and off time judiciously, we can make ourselves creative. So let's manage our time judiciously and let's not waste our time on this social media. Let's help our adolescents in living their life better. Thank you.